Got one of those cards for you today that's just so easy. Doesn't take a lot of products and you can make in batch, so it's perfect for your Christmas cards. I'll show you what we'll be using. I've stamped the sentiment with the Christmas sayings, and the die set we're using is the looped Snowflake Frame. And the last item, the last two items, are the Nordic Christmas mask, and we're going to be playing with the chalk color cloud, and this color is Blue Lagoon. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is put this onto a piece of our ruby red card. Now I like to have a bigger area just so I have a nice area that I can tape to, and if you're not fussed about it going around the outside edge, you can just use a couple pieces of tape. If you want a nice clean border, do it all the way around. I've already got one prepared, so I'm just going to do a tiny little tape to the edge. And I'm going to be very careful not to tape over any of the open areas because we're going to be doing some inking with it in a minute. There we go. So that'll hold it into place. We're going to do some embossing first. So what you want to do is turn it upside down and put your tan mat over the top. And since I've got it a little bit bigger, let me just make sure I've got it lined up nice. I think that looks good. And run it through to give it a nice emboss. And that just pushes all that dimension up through your mask. So now I want to bring in the Color Cloud chalk ink, take the top off, and I'm going to use a smoothie. Now the way that I find this works easiest is just pump it on to your smoothie like that, get it nice and inky, and then pounce it. Okay? So we can take it and just pounce it over the entire image, filling in all of this area. And you've got a lot of little detail in here, so this will take a few minutes. Just get a nice pretty color. The funny thing is, you think with this shade of blue it would not look right against the red, but it does give it a really nice look. It almost has a, kind of turns it a little bit of a grayish tone, but it's quite pretty, I think. There we go. And you can see it just filling in. I've missed a couple little spots up here, so we'll go back up. And you can see putting on the color nice and evenly because you can actually see it on the top of the mask too. There we go. Pounce it over. Re-ink. Go around to the corner. And you're going to have to probably spend a little more time on some of the squares there since they're smaller. You want a nice even coverage all the way around. Okay. So now I've kind of moved it all across everywhere. So let me just kind of go back just before we reveal it and just make sure I've gotten all my little corners done. There we go. I think that looks nice. Set that to the side. And obviously I didn't go around the edge, so I'm not going to have a perfectly clean edge, but I do have one I've done earlier, so we'll just peel our tape back. Oops. There we go. And if you want, you can leave it hinged like this. So if you've missed some spots, you can bring it back in and you can just flop it back down. So you can see I've got a really pretty look to that. Isn't that gorgeous? Now you want to take a grime boss and take this right off of your mask. You don't want it to dry on there, although you can clean it even if it does dry. There we go. That's looking nice. And just tidy up everything with a kitchen roll paper towel here. Okay, so I've got one I've done earlier. Now on this one here, I did do a second coat, so it's a little bit brighter. So I just let it dry a little naturally and added on another coat, so I have a really nice bold background for you. So the next thing I did was I added my snowflake frames. Now these are really beautiful. I've cut two of them and I've put little pearls on the top one. So what I'm going to do is just offset them to create something that's a little bit fuller. Just line them up. That looks really nice. And that makes a beautiful focal element. Put that right into the middle of our card. Super simple like that. And I've gone and stamped my sentiment in just a black. Now the other thing I was going to show you is if you use the same color cloud on your sentiment, because the original one was done on red, when you bring this color in on the white, it's going to be a lot brighter. Okay, so your red's going to tone that down a little bit. So if you want it to just tone in with your card, add in another color that's got a little bit darker color. Now I've gone to a weathered wood, which is a distress ink, and probably a little bit too much on there. Just take a little bit of that off, and you can sort of tone this color down and get that same sort of color tone by adding that over the top of it. Pick up a little bit more here, maybe even a lighter bit from my distress ink, so you can see how you've got something that's going to tone in with your card a little bit better. So just realize if you are using two different colors there, that you'll have to do that. So now I've used the center of that snowflake frame, this beautiful circular ring, and cut a frame out of the red with my sentiment. I'm going to put that right into the center there and finish that card off. You could add little pearls to all your detail there if you like, but how easy is that? It'd be a beautiful card for your batch Christmas card making. Hope you've enjoyed the video.